Well, Allison, that excitement you just mentioned in Washington certainly moved north here to New York City. But it was interesting and a bit of a rarity that this entire city seemed to come to a respect-filled grinding halt right before the Pope made his way past us here on Fifth Avenue. And then, of course, when they saw the motorcade, they just went crazy. But they said it was because, not that it was a Pope, but because it was this Pope and his very specific message. Pope Francis's plane landed at JFK in New York just after 5 o'clock. From a charter jet paid for by the reporters who travel with him, he emerged, greeted by clergy, children, and elated cheers. In one of those special moments, Francis graciously accepted a papal doll. A brief helicopter ride ushered the Pope to Manhattan, where he got in that now famous Fiat, which took him to the Pope-mobile. His drive through America's largest city closely resembled that of D.C. Barricades, steep security, and miles of people line the street, all trying to catch a glimpse of the Holy Father.
He matters because he speaks for the people in such a genuine and humble way that you hear his message. You hear his call for peace.
Pope Francis I've come alive since I've seen, he's the real thing. He's authentic, he's from the heart. That's what we've needed.
At St. Patrick's Cathedral near Rockefeller Center, Pope Francis was greeted by Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio. Before 3,400 people, he delivered evening prayers. His first was to the Muslim world after hundreds were killed in Saudi Arabia in a stampede.
En este momento de oración,
in this moment, I give assurances of my prayers. I unite myself with you all, a prayer to Almighty God.
And Friday will be a full one for the Pope. Those massive crowds are going to be greeting Pope Francis at the UN, at Madison Square Garden, at the 9/11 Memorial Site, and then one of the most memorable moments will probably be when his motorcade makes its way through Central Park. 80,000 tickets issued for that one, Leon.
You know it. Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Now, Pope Francis left Washington, D.C. today, but not before leaving a lasting impression in the halls of the Capitol here. He addressed Congress for close to an hour, touching on some of the major issues facing America. Tom Rousey live now with today's final events in the nation's capital. What a day here, Tom.
Yeah, it was quite a day, Leon. As he addressed Congress, there was a big crowd waiting outside. And after addressing Congress, the Pope went in between some of the columns up there and spoke to a large crowd. One of many things he did on his last day in D.C.
In all, the Pope was only in the D.C. area about 48 hours, but he packed a lot in. Late in the afternoon, he was sent off by the Secretary of State, Maryland's governor, and scores of children, young adults, and military families. His plane then took off from Joint Base Andrews for New York. Francis started his Thursday becoming the first Pope ever to speak to a joint meeting of Congress. He called for an end to the death penalty, the welcoming of immigrants, and continued his controversial push on climate change.
environmental deterioration caused by human activity. I'm convinced that we can make a difference. I'm sure.
After talking to Congress,
Bendice a sus familias.
Bless the families.
the Pope talked to tens of thousands on the West Lawn of the Capitol. From there, he went to Northwest Washington to visit St. Patrick's and Catholic Charities, where the homeless were fed and the Pope gave blessings.
So, man, did the Pope fit a lot into 48 hours. Besides addressing Congress today, he met with the president twice over the course of those 48 hours, was seen by tens of thousands, and he also visited, for differing reasons, 3 major Catholic churches in the district. Reporting live tonight outside the Capitol, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Special coverage of the Pope's visit continues here on ABC 7 and on our sister station, News Channel 8. You can also find photo galleries, schedule details, and exclusive content at WJLA.com. Allison.
New at 11 tonight, a new lawsuit for upscale D.C. restaurant Fig and Olive. It was filed by a Montgomery County woman who claimed she was sickened with salmonella after eating at that restaurant earlier this month. Fig and Olive recently reopened after voluntarily closing for 6 days while the Department of Health investigated. More than 60 people became ill.